Rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis or RA, which does not occur from the wear and tear. The wear and tear arthritis called it as the osteoarthritis. This rheumatoid arthritis is a condition where the immune system mistakenly start attacking the joints. In a minute, we will discuss all the reasons why the immune system loses its intelligence and begins to mount its horrific assault on the joint. But firstly, let's learn a little interesting anatomy about the structure of our joints. Inside our synovial joint is a layer of connective tissue called synovial membrane. Synovial joints are a movable joints that enable us to flex, extend, rotate, abduct and adduct the joint. The joint is made up of a sac-like fibrous joint capsule, a synovial cavity filled with synovial fluid and a layer of articular cartilage. The joint capsule is the capsule surrounding a synovial joint. It contains two layers. The first layer is a fibrous membrane that lies in the outer part of the capsule. It is made up of mainly the ligaments. That is why it's called so fibrous. The second layer, which is the inner layer of the joint, is the synovial membrane. This membrane is made up of two layers, an outer layer of connective tissue and an inner layer which is made up of two types of cell, the fibroblast and the macrophage-like cells. Let's focus on the attention on the fibroblast. The fibroblast secretes synovial fluid, which is a clear viscous fluid that functions by the lubricating the joints. It contains protein and hyaluronic acid and serves as a lubricant to the joint cartilage surfaces. It also supplies nutrients and oxygen to the joints and removes toxin away from the joints. Some type of fibroblasts make collagen and even cartilage. So the main function of the fibroblast is to protect the joint. But in rheumatoid arthritis, the synovial fibroblasts become abnormal, aggressive and destructive. One theory is that our genetics could predispose to rheumatoid arthritis, but we have to dig a little deeper into it and look at the situation from the perspective of epigenetics. So what this means is that yes, you may contain the gene of rheumatoid arthritis, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you will come down with rheumatoid arthritis just because you have the gene for it. But it does mean that your behavior and environment will determine whether the gene will wake up and express itself or not. So it is epigenetics that can determine if the gene is turned on or off. Things which turn on the gene are processed diet, obesity, physical activity or trauma, cigarette smoking, alcohol consumption, environmental pollutant, exposure to the air pollution or heavy metal, psychological and emotional stress and working on the night shift. So for example, we could line up 100 people who have rheumatoid arthritis gene. These who might actually come down with an RA would be those that make these mistakes and they drink suppose alcohol or maybe smoke cigarettes or eating unhealthy fast food or exposed to heavy metals and pesticides. These mistakes can turn on the genes and then you can come down with a rheumatoid arthritic attack. So having the gene for RA just means that the gene will be quiet and you will never even know you had a gene of RA. But if you make any mistakes I just mentioned, then in your case your trend towards developing an RA will be more. Someone else might make similar mistakes. You are making similar to that, but their gene express itself as something else, such as an ulcerative colitis, scleroderma or diabetes. It depends on the gene you inherited. So let's say you have the gene and you are making some of these mistakes. Then the gene switch is turned on and now the body begins making the destructive fibroblast. These are called rheumatoid arthritis synovial fibroblasts or RASFs. So these evil RASFs have an increased capacity to migrate. They can leave the joint and spread through the bloodstream and implant in another joint. The regular intelligent fibroblasts stay in the same joint and never leave the area. But the evil fibroblasts can travel and implant into a different joint. Then the RASFs produce pro-inflammatory cytokines which trigger an inflammatory response in the joint, and to make the matters worse, the RASFs can produce enzymes which break down the joints in contrast to the normal fibroblast which build up and protect the joints. Rheumatoid arthritis can eventually even damage the skin, the heart, the blood vessels and ravage the whole body. But remember, through your gene have both on and off switch. All you need to do is to stop making the mistakes, clean up your diet, go to bed early, stop smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, and avoid exposure to chemicals and pharmaceuticals which disturb your immune system. By doing this and leaving how to pull out the toxins which are disturbing your immune system and joints, the gene will settle down and the RA symptoms will start to dissipate as your immune system regains its intelligence and stop launching its attack on the joints. That's why in Ayurveda we say that rheumatoid arthritis is a reversible condition. If you have been listening to any of my other videos, the immune system is an intelligent and knows not to attack our own body. But the immune system basically consists of three major parts. Do you know what all they? The first one is the friendly bacteria in the gut. Second is the major organ which involves is the liver. Third is the bone marrow. So the first, the foremost, you want to avoid medication which destroy your friendly bacteria. Medications such as unnecessary antibiotics, birth control pills, acid reflux medicines, steroids and unnecessary immunizations. If you have a history of taking any of these, you must regrow your friendly bacteria and which could suffer the consequences of your immune system spiraling out of the control, since your gut microbiome or the friendly bacteria in the gut. Stabilize your immune system and keeping it from attacking you. The use of these pharmaceutical drugs in the modern time, it is responsible for many of the epidemics of autoimmune disease we are seeing nowadays. Next, you must keep your liver clean and cool. Too many toxins in a highly processed diet combined with too many pharmaceuticals heat up the liver and they course through. Too much toxins in a highly processed diet combined with too many pharmaceuticals heat up the liver and they course through it. Once the liver heats up, it provokes the immune system to go into the attack mode and you could develop RA if you have a gene for it. So you must cool the liver, clean it out and regenerate the liver cells, especially if you have been raised on vegetable oils, and which is a form of poison. Once heated and damage the liver cells. Of course, you should contact an experienced Ayurvedic physician who is well trained in repairing and cleaning the liver. Don't try to do this your own or you run the risk of pushing yourself further into an autoimmune crisis. If you take the remedies which could heat up the liver and more remedies such as milk thistle, garlic capsules, MSM, flax seeds, turmeric and garlic capsules, shilajit, ashwagandha, to name a few, notice that many of these remedies are recommended incorrectly for a people with a rheumatoid arthritis. So it is a must to consult a Ayurvedic doctor to recommend these drugs whether you are fit on the what dosages to take it, and if not, you need a cleansing to make it fit for that. Third, you must clean the bone marrow, since modern toxins such as pesticides, air pollution, heavy metals, immunizations and many other pharmaceuticals wind up the bone marrow on a regular basis. And the bone marrow is where the immune system cells are born. So if the toxins reach this very deep tissue, autoimmune diseases may result. Once you balance out of the three parts of your immune system, you must change your diet to a healthy one, and also work with your Ayurvedic physician on this. And you must learn to do correct detox, always making sure that your body's physical channels are well lubricated, since it is these channels that have carried out these very hot, nasty toxins into the bowel movement, urine and the sweat. If you pull out the toxins too quickly, and if the channels aren't well lubricated, you will run the risk of rupturing the channels, and toxins are free to roam throughout the whole body, and you are now in even bigger trouble since you can't get them anyway. Yet another reason to contact you an Ayurvedic physician who is familiar with this problem. Then you must use herbs to calm down your hyperimmune system, which will allow the inflammation to go down, and then course the herbs to heal the cartilage, synovial fluid and collagen formation. Yes, believe it or not, we will have a whole arsenal of herbs and other remedies which can heal the joints and the cartilage. And even these herbs that works exactly like steroids but without the side effect. So you can stay on them even a long term until the autoimmune tendency and the inflammation goes away. The current treatments of RA involving shutting down the immune system in order to stop attack of your joints. While this approach may work, it is a scary notion to be walking around with a turned off immune system. The approach we take is to modulate the immune system or gently bringing the hyper-reactive immune system back down to normal. And as a side note here, if you are a rheumatoid arthritis patient or any other autoimmune disease, for the matter, you definitely don't want to take any herbal formulation which boosts your immune system. Occasionally, I run into a patient who is doing just that and make sure I take them off the remedy since their immune system is ready to boost it. What we need to do is to calm down so it stops the hyper reacting attacking the body. And one other thing, we might study the body as if it is made up of various components such as the endocrine system, the nervous and the digestive system of the immune system. But the real truth is that anything can affect any of these things due to the various connection made upon inside the body, which pulls out all the system together as one. So if one area goes out of balance, it could affect many other systems and processes in the body, even if it seems unrelated. That's why we often see thyroid involvement with rheumatoid arthritis. For example, so if these cases, you have to see all the reasons which are disturbing the thyroid gland and support it, since a weak thyroid contribute a joint pain. And of course in Ayurveda, we also evaluate the state of Vata, Pitta and Kapha, since balances in each of these is principles which govern all aspects of the physiology. Can create joint pain. Vata can dry out the joint and cause severe pain. Pitta can create heat and inflammation in the joints, and Kapha can create stiffness in the joints, especially if the digestion is sluggish and you are creating ama, partially digested food. Ama is called the partially digested food. So incomplete digestion, which can accumulate in the joints. So these cases, we have to teach the patient how to keep all three in balance as they go through their life. And finally, our emotional states can also cause autoimmune reactions in the body, because if you are angry, stressed, or grieving your digestion, it can be impaired to the point where you could be making an amavisha from the food. Amavisha is very hot reactive toxins which gets produced by anything which could interfere with the normal digestion of the food. When food is only partially digested, it is called ama, or a residue of undigested food which clogs the digestive channel. But then once the initial channel clogs, all the subsequent channels in the body can clog, which could cause stiffness, pain, as I mentioned. But if the ama rots and ferments, an acidic, more highly reactive of itself than the ama, which is called amavisha. That is the highly toxic. The amavisha is just like as a poison. So, amavisha is worse than ama because it is hot acidic toxins can pave the way for autoimmune diseases due to its hot tendency, which can quickly push the immune system into highly inflammatory autoimmune reactions. But when there is an emotional stress, the food turns into amavisha immediately, which means it doesn't have to first form ama and then rot into amavisha. That's why imbalanced emotional states can adversely affect the body immediately. Fortunately, we have herbs and many other treatments to help you deal with the emotional challenges and effective ways of ridding the body of amavisha. For example, regular amavisha is cold and clogging, so need to be burned out of the channels using the spices and herbs. However, amavisha is very hot, reactive and inflammatory, so cleaning this form of channels requires an artful approach so as not to inadvertently create more heat, which will push immune system into more autoimmune reaction. So now you know, if you suffer from rheumatoid arthritis, there is another alternative for you. First, it involves determining what mistake you are making so you can reverse the bad habits, and then work on recalibrating your immune system by eating healthy and doing the necessary detox so that your immune system can once for all get back on track. So these evil RASFs can fade away, allowing the normal fibroblasts to do their work properly, protecting your joints for your whole life. Thank you.